so
Not
gracious.
so much, you know, I mean, because it came from a place of understanding, so I actually had a lot after they got out, and they reached out to me, said, you know, thank you so much, you know, for you really kept me strong.
Thank you.
Now I've been clean for 2 years. I got my chat bar, and you said you want to text it to you. You know, that.
Exactly. Sounds like great multitasking.
Need anything?
I'm good.
There was one of the feds.
All right.
I should be out by this time.
We
She's
didn't sign
like, "Can you guys-"
What's that?
Right.
And I'm like,
Alrighty.
Like,
yeah, you're good.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone who has come to the class today. There's gonna be some great content that they've put together for us, and you guys have a baby back there, right? Okay, because there's gonna be some interaction today with us, and I just want to make sure it's participatory so we can all hear, and it all sounds good. So the first thing that we're gonna talk about is you guys participated in a class, was it yesterday? And what was that class called yesterday?
Unique selling position.
Unique selling proposition. So I'm on page 8. What? So as I just shared with everyone, we're gonna have a participatory class. It's not about me, it's about you guys and getting as much as you possibly can out of the class. So we're gonna be doing a lot of talking, we're gonna be taking turns, reading the different parts of the material that we're going over today. The first page is on page 8. It says, where are you today with lead generation efforts? Get into the habit of taking accountability for your actions and your progress. Take time to share with your instructor and your peers and your ahas, challenges, and the next steps. So on page 8, let's take a few minutes on this. Everyone would get out page 8, get out the packet and go to page 8. And what's that? You have the material?
No.
It's all up in line.
It's not, no.
I can forward you the email. I just sent it out yesterday. In just a second.
Until you print it out, you're gonna be printing a lot of stuff.
Tamara Simpson, and whoever, Tamara Simpson at kw.com.
I did it also.
So is everyone caught up and know where we are?
What's your JJ Johnson? At KW.
As we get caught up, the first activity it reads is, list the lead generation activities you've completed in the last 24 hours. By a show of hands, who has some activities for lead generating over the last 24 hours, and what are they? Go ahead and call them out in the back. What have you guys done?
Letter writing, texts, calls, visits with clients, past clients.
Great.
Business to business relations, networking region.
Yes, Michelle?
Door knocking and talking to people on my sphere.
Awesome. Who else has had some lead generation activities? Go for it.
I met with a referral partner for coffee yesterday.
Okay, awesome. Anyone else have any lead generation activities in the last 24 hours?
Cold calling.
Cold calling.
Oh, yeah, just now.
Cold calling. Okay. I mean, there are a lot of lead generation activities that we can do. Anyone else have any lead generation activities? This is something that as realtors, we should all have every day, is lead generation, because in real estate, it's a contact sport. And if we have no contacts, we're in the business. And if we're not in business, I mean, we're doing something else. So it should be something that we all do on a daily basis. So from those activities that everyone did yesterday and that had been doing, what were some ahas that you took away from those activities while you were there, or maybe even after you left? Let me hear some of those ahas that you may have had.
I was just trying to make it harder than what it really is. Because I'm good at talking with people, I can talk to anyone, and I was trying to make it more difficult. Like, I can just talk to people about anything and somehow bring it, real estate into it. And haven't been doing it like that. I've been thinking that I needed to just go right into it and you don't have to.
Absolutely. We do make it more difficult than what it actually needs to be. Who else has an aha from some of the lead generation activities that you had yesterday? I'll tell you, I mean, just from a lot of lead generation I do, you know, it's for me, the hardest call to make is the first phone call that you dial. Because we get that buyer reluctance, or we get that call anxiety, or it's called something else. And as soon as a person answers on the other phone, we have no choice but to go into the conversation. And then once we're in the conversation, then it just kind of flows from that. So that's an aha that I have every time. And lead generation never gets any easier. It does get less painful, but it's just something that I think every salesperson has a challenge with. And that's that first call. Who else has an aha from what they did yesterday?
Mine was actually transference from Monday with Tim. And it was make your plan the night before of who you're going to call, because when that was ready to go, you just start dialing. As opposed to, ooh, who am I going to call today? Or going through my brevity list and my follow-ups and all of that. Start generating immediately, it's ready to go. And then you've gone through 69 dials or 100 dials or whatever it is. It's over. I mean, and you hopefully get lots of stuff from it, but when it's planned out, you can just start.
Absolutely. Anyone else have an aha? Like I said, this is a participatory class, and I want to have everybody participate because I know how boring some class can be if we're not participatory, and I'll have things to interject. Who else has something maybe they want to add from their lead generation activities yesterday? Or maybe not yesterday, over the last week or two that you've done something.
Confidence is powerful.
What's that?
Confidence is powerful on the phone. You don't get caught in your head, you just do it.
Tell me more about the confidence. Tell me more.
Well, I made a call to a past client that I was a little nervous about connecting with and wanted to talk to her about real estate a bit and how her new home is and invite her out for lunch. And the call went a lot better than I thought because I think I was more confident and that came across in the conversation.
Very good. Absolutely. Yeah, making those calls, you do get confidence from them as you make those calls, and then you find out what your gaps may be when you make those calls. You think, man, maybe I should have lead generate, or maybe I should have script practiced more before I got on that call and didn't know that I would need that material right now. So doing lead generation on a daily basis, that's really where it is. A little bit about me. I've been in real estate. Christina knows me. Michelle, Justin knows me. Most people may know me from Steve knows me. Most people may see me around the house, but I've been in real estate now 18 years. I started in real estate. It was either 2004, 2005. I forget what my license says. It was one of those years. I was with Murney until 2009. Left Murney, went to Assist Sell for a year. Some of you guys don't know this. I got out of real estate, but I still had my license. I went down to timeshare, sold timeshares for a year, and at Wyndham, and I was on the front line. And I'm not sure if anyone's ever done timeshares before, but that definitely was not me. I'm not the high pressure person. But one thing I was able to figure out while I was not getting the ups when they came in, I had a lot of time to script practice those tours down there. And all the time that I was script practicing those tours, I thought to myself, if I were to script practice as much at real estate as I'm having to script practice with these tours, I would kill it. And before going down to Wyndham, at Murney, they never really taught you anything, kind of pat you on the back and say, go get them Tiger. All I knew how to do was open houses. And I didn't learn that from anybody over there. I just kind of YouTubed and figured it out myself. Then Zach Riggs, everybody knows who Zach Riggs is. He and I've been friends for a while. I forgot how we met. And he knew I wasn't doing much at Murney. So he said, why don't you come over to Assist Us? And I'm like, oh, okay. So I went and talked to Antonio Serrano, talked to him, and then I was there for a year. I was there long enough to know that the business model didn't work for me. I didn't want to be a discount broker salesperson. You chase your tail, you bust your butt for very little peanut, or for very, very little peanuts. And so that was when I went down to Wyndham, because they say you can make what most people make in a year, you can make in a month at timeshare. And I thought that was for me, wasn't for me. Then I have a friend who sold me my very first home, Charity Middleton, now known as Charity Graham. I reached out to her and I said, this is around 2011 or so. I reached out to her and said, and for you all, I knew real estate was a passion of mine. I just didn't know how I was going to connect. So I'm sharing this with you. So maybe you'll kind of see where I've been and see where my passion lies and where it comes from. But I told Charity, I want to be in real estate somewhere. Who do you know that I can work with? So she mentioned Scott Perryman. Man, I tried calling Scott over about a 2-month time span, never answered. So I needed to work. I needed to make money. So I went down and he wasn't there when I went down. I'm like, man, is this guy ever at work? So I went back there the next day. Janice was an older lady that worked the front desk, and she said, Scott's usually here about 8:30 in the morning when he gets here. So I was there the next day about 8:30 in the morning, and we talked for about 2 hours. And Scott did Fannie Mae foreclosures. He was a big agent for Murphy, and I became his buyer's agent. So I did contracts, BPOs. I did pretty much anything that that he needed me to do. But the most important thing I was able to do was get the buyers when they called in, because everybody, when they see foreclosures, and there were a lot of foreclosures back then, they want a deal. They want to pay pennies on a dollar for those houses. And so Scott didn't want to work buyers. I'm like, cool, I'm good with buyers. So I got really good with them. I didn't even know you could win awards in real estate. I had no idea. So between the years of 2012, 13, and 14, I won awards for being a buyer's agent. I'm like, crap, this is kind of cool. Get paid for doing something that you really enjoy doing. And there's that one saying, many people that work with me hear me say it, if you find something that you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life. And so for the last 18 years, maybe not the last 18 years, but at least since 2011, 2012, it's been such a wonderful business to be a part of. Scott helped me get my start. 2014, I started getting phone calls from Keller Williams. With Murray, I had the goose that laid the golden egg. What I mean by that, I didn't have to make any phone calls. I just took them. I was an order taker. And during those years, I was making $80,000 to $90,000 a year. Pretty good money, but I wanted to make more. So whenever I got calls from Chris Russell, who recruited me to Keller Williams, I was nowhere near wanting to take a move to Keller Williams, because I knew, man, that's big boy league over there. I don't want to make phone calls. I just want to sit here and take calls. But I got to the place where I was starting to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. I wanted to make more money. So through about a year and a half or two of Chris recruiting me, I met with him about 11 times. Never did he once ask me to join Keller Williams, never once. And he always poured into me and shared with me different ways that Keller Williams could help me and my business and my family. So one day I was like, you know what? I'm gonna come to Keller Williams. So I did. So the very first year, I about doubled my income. And from when I was making $80,000 to $90,000 at Murray, I came over here. And the one thing Chris Russell told me was, get to work every day by 8:30, create your call list on a daily basis before you start your shift. And I'm like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So I didn't get here at 8:30. I got here at 9:30. And, you know, I noticed I wasn't getting the leads. I wasn't getting the business. I wasn't making nearly as much money. So at some point or another, I started creating our call list and I started mapping out what my day looked like. And Keller Williams is fantastic for models and systems and training. And I just jumped in with both feet. And here I am in 2022, loving what I do. They offer you so much. It's just a matter of, you have to be passionate about something, figure out what you're passionate about and do it. And so I'm up here today because they asked me to do it. somehow or another got lucky enough to talk about lead generation, because that's what I preach on an everyday basis to the people that I work with, and even other people that I don't work with. I talk about our 20% lead generate, lead follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, and scripts and role play. So I'm off my soapbox, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys where I was at, so you might be able to relate to me, just other than somebody up here teaching class today. I've been there, and I've been in every one of y'all's seats. So let's just share it with you. So, man, I got my mouth is so dry. All right, so let's move on. We're on page 9. Anyone have any questions over anything maybe I've shared so far this morning? No. Okay, cool. So it says we're gonna make this participatory. You just took a bite of food. What is your first name?
I'm Haley.
Haley, I'm Mark. Haley, would you, where it says why you are here, do you see it on your screen?
Mhm.
Would you read that for us?
In this power session, you will continue to build on the solid foundation of understanding the importance of lead generation. In the introduction, you gain the critical mindset of a lead generator, and now you are ready to explore strategies to seek and find new sources of leads. In power session 2, prospecting, you will overcome any limiting beliefs about prospecting and learn ways to establish meaningful business relationships with people through direct contact.
Thank you, Haley. So for everyone that was here yesterday, can I get some ahas from what you learned through that session? Who would like to share?
The friends in the back there yesterday, we talked a lot about, I had mentioned how everyone I know knows lots of realtors, and I kept thinking last night how you said there are multiple people who said like their moms didn't even use them as their realtor, and it's just, it made me think about a lot of stuff.
You were saying their mom?
Well, there were, Blake said his mom didn't use, and then her mom and aunt, I think, are both realtors. I was just saying, everyone I know seems to know lots of realtors, and that's one of my limiting beliefs. And they made me feel a little bit better about it, I guess.
Okay, so your limiting belief is what?
Everyone already knows a realtor.
Okay.
I know a lot of people. I was a teacher for 17 years.
Oh, nice.
I've lived in Springfield for almost 30 years. I know tons of people, but I always just think, I know a lot. I just think everybody already has someone that they use, and I know that's wrong. It's a limiting belief.
So your limiting belief is because everyone has a realtor, why would they use you? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I still think I could do a good job for them. It's just, I hate to put someone in that position to be like, yeah, no.
Sure. Great, love that. And maybe through some of them, Joe, we'll cover today, that'll help you with it. Give me 2 more ahas before we move on to the next section. Go for it, Justin.
Work for the endorsement, not the client,
Yeah, that was a good one.
and set up a Google reviews page, set up a Yelp, set up review pages where people can contact you and talk about and rave about how good your service was.
Tell me more about the endorsement part.
If you can get a third party vouching for you, that is way more powerful than you telling somebody how important and good you are.
Absolutely, love that. One more aha from yesterday before we move on.
He had us call somebody and ask them to describe us, either a personal relationship or a business relationship through something, and he had us call to have them describe us, and I did it and it felt really good. It was very validating, which was what like yesterday's class was.
Would you mind being vulnerable and sharing with us how they described you?
Yeah, I told him it was for a class, but he said I was pleasant, had excellent customer service, easy to get along with, results oriented, did exactly what I said I would do, and was prompt.
Nice. Perfect for a realtor.
Right.
All those things are great to have. All right, thank you for sharing. So on to page 10. What I would like for you guys to do is one agent's perfect day of prospecting. If you guys would take a few minutes, and if you would read that, whenever you finish reading it, just raise your head so I know you're done and you're completed it. We've completed it. Just a couple more seconds, like a few more. Everyone ready? We all, we're good? Okay. Yes, sir. Raise your hand. You know what? You had your hand up. Give me an aha.
Don't stress back there, you guys.
His routine never changed. He's like, what works, works, and he keeps doing it and doesn't stray from what works. He's not all over the place either, trying to test out different things all the time. He's just like, this is what works, I'm doing it.
Two more ahas from the story, please. I'll call on you if I don't know when volunteers. Christina.
My biggest aha was that he spent at least like 7 to 8 hours a day with prospecting. And so, 7. So it's almost like his job was to find, so he didn't stop until he found his work. So that was an aha for me.
Who else? One more.
Vision board. So I'm really big on vision boards because it reminds you of your ultimate goal.
Mhm.
And so I feel like his prospecting would lead him to his ultimate goal.
Right.
Hey, Mark, I got a question for
Go
you.
for it.
You've been in the business now for a long time. Obviously, you're killing it on lead generation. How many hours? 7 hours a day on lead gen. It's like, well, how are you spending any time doing anything with the leads that you get? Like it's almost like my BS flag got raised on this guy.
Yeah, sorry, I'm fair. Yeah. Great question. Who would like to answer that? Go for it.
Leverage. He has an assistant.
Okay.
He has like either an EA or a VA, somebody doing all the back work. He's got transaction coordinators. He's got people to stage homes for him. He hires everything else out and all he has to do is go get leads.
Great answer.
Yes, I get that. I'm sure he does use leverage. But so tell me, my BS flag goes off too. Like, tell me if it's a limiting belief or maybe there's something there. But like I read, he door knocks a couple times a day at 2 different time slots. Well, like you're door knocking for an hour, it's got to take you at least 20 minutes to drive there and 20 minutes to get back. I mean, am I limiting myself or?
Why can't he make the calls like he said he does the expired calls? He can make those calls and have like that assistant in his ear taking the notes while he's driving. So that drive time is there for he's working.
Yeah, I mean, that's my question, I guess.
What time do you start calling, by the way?
The most important thing is this. If you think it can be done, it can. If you don't think it can, it won't. So it's the limiting beliefs that we're taught growing up that we can never do it. And so it's important that you jump in with both feet with whatever training that the market center may be offering, because that's all a mindset. And if we'll correct our mindset, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. I come from a family where my mom was a secretary, made about $40,000 to $45,000 a year. My dad was a warehouse worker, made maybe that. And I was supposed to work in an office environment my entire life and maybe make that too. I was the black sheep in the family, and I didn't care what other people told me. No one was going to stop me from doing what I wanted to do. Now it's taken me a little longer to get there, but I've had those goals. So believe you can and you will. Yes, sir.
Well, I just wanted to tie into that. I always kind of go with like the scrubbing bubbles idea of work smarter, not harder. And it sounds like that if this guy's still doing this for 7 hours a week, that the prospecting is the one thing that he can't or doesn't think that he should delegate. So if you delegate everything else, then you can do that for 7 hours, and he probably has somebody handling his buy and somebody handling his sell. But I think you have to eventually figure out your skill set and figure out what is the one thing that I have to do and what is the one thing I probably should delegate first, and kind of work off of that.
So the one thing reads, and I'm gonna get to you. What's the one thing that I can do such that by doing it will make everything else easier or unnecessary? So there are a lot of things that are out there in the world, but if we don't have any money, what's the problem, right? So that one thing that we can do on a daily basis is lead generation. If there's one thing that we have, if we have a lot of leads, we're gonna have a whole lot of other things coming along behind it. But if we don't have any leads, we're gonna find ourselves being a secretary or working in a warehouse somewhere, because we had limiting beliefs that we couldn't do it. Am I kind of on track? Yes, sir, Steve, and then I'm gonna get you in the back.
Oh, no, I didn't have anything.
Oh, okay, yes, sir.
Well, I look at that and I see, he says he's doing administrative work from 8 to 9. And, so that's, he's working his business, doing all the paperwork and everything else he needs to do. That's a reasonable amount of time. And all these things are not gonna produce something immediately. So he's, like door knocking, you might need to have 25 conversations, but not everybody's answering. So you're gonna have to make a lot of walking. So every trip may not even be a lead, it may or may not be. And then he after 3, he's going on his appointments, that you have to do showings and things like that. So I think it's kind of reasonable. His schedule doesn't seem like me.
Absolutely. So as Gary Keller says, keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing is lead generated. And so I know what helped me and what's helped me throughout the last 3 years. So I hired a VA, I hired a virtual assistant. Her name is Krisha. Krisha's been with me since April of 2019. And so what she did, I got call bias. Every time I saw somebody in my CRM, I did call bias. I'd say, man, I just talked to them at the grocery store. They don't want to hear from me. I mean, why would they want to hear from me? So when Krisha creates the list for me, she Zoom shares my CRM to me, and then we're on the phone through Ring Central. So whenever she presses dial or she says, this is the person that you're talking to, I've got no choice. I've got to talk to them, and I've got my script on what I have to say to them. So therefore, salespeople will make excuses. Salespeople are great at making excuses, and they will make an excuse to not make a phone call, to not lead generate, to figure out what else is more important. We will avoid pain at all costs because we don't like rejection. Most of us, I know I don't. And so that's why I hired Krisha. The best $1,300 a month I spend. She does my database for me. She sends out drip campaigns. She does all that for me. All I got to do is talk. Yes.
I was just gonna say about the door knocking thing. Why don't you just door knock the neighborhood you're in?
So, I'm sorry.
You could just door knock the neighborhood that you're in.
Yeah.
I mean, that cuts out your drive time, just walk out your front door. I mean, you should at least know your neighbors better than everyone else. You don't want to see someone else's for sale sign in their yard.
Absolutely. So to land this plane for you right there, I forgot your first, oh, no, not Nathan, Andy. So to land the plane, Andy, yeah, it's, at one time, I would probably say BS to the story, but the longer I've been in this business, he's making a fantastic living at what he's doing. He's not, I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And that's just what he does. That's his business model. So as long as you're, I mean, when you have that many leads coming in, you can hire leverage, and then you can continue doing that. Because sometimes you will confuse activity with productivity, and that activity is chasing those other things down that aren't part of our 20%. Do you know what our 20% is, Andy? As a realtor?
Leads, negotiations, you know better than me, but. Yeah.
Well, that's not, I mean, that's not where I'm getting at. Where I'm getting at is that's something that we need to be able to know like the back of our hand when we wake up in the morning. Our job description, just like if you're working at Come and Go, that Come and Go's job description, that clerk is to stock the shelves, do this, do that, and whatever it might be. If the manager or the store owner comes in there and they're not doing their job and they're not handling their job description, how long will they be a clerk there?
Probably 2 warnings.
2 warnings. And I'm being very serious about this because this is my passion. So there's no frills or laughing or what. I'm being dead serious. And so as our opportunity is so fantastic as a realtor, we need to know what our job description is. Lead generate, lead follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, and scripts and role play. Everything else you can leverage out. And you'll be able to when you get to that point. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just being kind of serious about this stuff. Go for it.
How many hours a week does Krisha work for you as your VA?
40 to 50.
Okay.
Yeah. It's her third, it's grave night. It's graveyard for her. If you want more, I would, hit me up and I'll share some information.
Well, I mean, to me, I just think of as a new agent, like, it seems like there's a rocky road between starting out and just wishing you had something to do to get to that point where everything's leveraged out. But I mean, I guess it comes in stages, and as you get more and more business, and you got to figure that out along the way.
You do.
So.
Can I ask you a question? What's the rocky road?
No, I mean, to me, like, if I go out, for example, tomorrow and spend 7 hours lead generating like this gentleman did, and then say I get, I don't know, 3 people out of that want some of my help. And then I do that the next day and I get 3 more people. I mean, like, I'm already like bogged down. Like I gotta slow down. I can't lead generate the 3rd day.
Why are you
I gotta
bogged
slow
down?
Because I don't have anyone in place to help me at this point. I'm saying that like but that's a nice problem to have, and I'm sure you figure it out, so.
So that's when you have a schedule and you plan. And so whenever somebody wants to have an appointment, you have it on your calendar. And so your appointments are in the afternoon. You always lead generate in the morning when your willpower is at its highest or best. And then you set up your appointments around that. So if someone wants to interrupt your lead gen time, I'm in an appointment right now. I'm in an appointment right now. I can call you back at, and when you see my calendar in the green, that represents the day or the times of the day that I can take an appointment. And that's all you do.
So every day when you go and door knock or you talk to someone on the phone and they say, yeah, I would love to meet with you. Okay, I'm available tomorrow at 3 p.m. I'm available on Friday at 2:30. It's always in the afternoon. And then you're going to continue to focus on
Exactly right.
what you're doing.
And pre-schedule your appointment. So just have a blank appointment ready for your appointment. That was a big one for me, was setting up my appointments in advance and then fill in the blank.
And then work like hell to
To get
fill
that
that
filled.
appointment.
Yep.
That's a good
Are you-
point.
And then if it's not filled, then lead generate.
What did you say?
I said the appointment's not filled, then lead generate during that hour.
Are you also scheduling closings in the afternoon, like with intent, like to only lead generate in the morning? Is that?
No, you're right. And
There's the sticky.
I get so annoyed when we have a beautiful transaction coordinator. She is amazing. And I get so aggravated or annoyed sometimes whenever there's a home inspection in the morning. But sometimes buyers want to be there but I had that conversation with my buyers before they go to schedule their inspection appointments. I'll let them know. Going to a home inspection is like watching paint dry. And so you're going to get a home inspection report. You don't have to take off work. The inspector, he has a number on there. You can give him a call. We're going to get a report. We're going to go over it. But if you have to schedule a home inspection, we'll do it in the afternoon. Therefore, because I'll have to be there and we'll work around that. Therefore, I'm not interrupting. That annoys me so much.
So you're setting them up, hoping that they don't go, but if they do want to go, then you're gonna be there with them and you're gonna try and do it in the afternoon.
Right. Jill has my schedule, so she knows when to follow up or when to call me.
She's your
Transaction coordinator. And if you need a transaction coordinator, she's fantastic. I think she's looking for a few people. Or she's open. She's not looking, she's plenty busy, but if someone needs a transaction coordinator, she's available. All right, let's move on to page 13. The lead generation puzzle. Let's do this. Instead of having everybody raise their hand, Justin, will you take that paragraph?
I'm not there.
Are we on page 14?
13.
13. Okay. Now that you have a start on your personal validity and powerful positioning from Power Session 1, Building Validity and Positioning, you are ready to proceed with your lead generation activities. You will use two general approaches to lead generation: prospecting and marketing, to promote what you do relentlessly and continuously. It takes a coordinated plan of prospecting and marketing to solve the lead generation puzzle. Two pieces of the lead generation puzzle: prospecting and marketing. Truth: lead generation requires both prospecting plus marketing.
All right, so it says my 20% is prospecting. Do I stack marketing on top of that? Absolutely, and that's from Brad Puffer from the Puffer team in Asheville, North Carolina. Do you guys have that in the margin? Yeah, that's it. All right, cool. So, Andy, did I answer your question earlier? I'm just kind of going back about your 7 hours a day.
Yeah, I mean, the question was, yeah, you did. Was it limiting belief or was I, yeah, you did.
What does your day look like?
Not nearly that structured and not as structured as it should be. I mean, I do try to start off the morning with some calls and probably some emails. And try to leave the afternoon a little more open, but.
Okay, so permission to ask a couple more questions?
Yeah.
Okay. How much business do you have right now? How many leads do you have?
When you say lead, what do you?
Someone that's wanting to transact, that you're actively showing properties to, or that you have that are actively wanting to sell their home, buyers or sellers?
I'd say about 5.
5 that you're actively showing.
Well, you say buyers and sellers, so getting ready with sellers and then some buyers that are
Okay.
ready.
So Monday through Friday, are you with those buyers and sellers every hour of the day?
No.
So in the in-between time, what do you fill your time with?
I don't know. I mean, that's the hard part is, trying to decide what's your most important task.
Prospecting.
Well, from what we've been discussing, what is the main task in real estate?
Legion, negotiation.
So if we're not lead generating, what are we doing? Are we making excuses not to lead generate, to do something else, to avoid the pain of lead generating? Help me, maybe it's something else for you, but that's what happens to me.
Do you not like making phone calls? Like I don't. I hate phone calls.
I don't mind phone calls. I don't like cold calls. I would say that.
Ever
yeah.
thought about going like to Home Depot or Lowe's and just walking the aisles and talking to old men? I mean, just sparking up a conversation?
Go to the mall with 25 business cards and don't leave until you pass them all out.
Yeah, you can do that too. You go to Walmart, you can go to Target.
At some point or another, the pain will get so great that we'll actually do something about it. But until we have enough pain, will we actually want to do something about it? We've all been there, and I'm not sure, I mean, we're just visiting right now, but that's the truth. I mean, I've been through it.
Been
I
there.
mean, until that pain gets so great that I'm behind on this or I'm behind on that, I'm good with what I'm doing. But we have to reach that level, and we all reach it at different points of our life. So I just want to make sure I circle back around. I just want to help. That's all I want to do, because I've been there, man. I've been there. All right, move on to page 14. Prospecting. Christian, take that paragraph for me.
Yep. Oh, God. Prospecting, seeking leads. Prospecting is all the activities that you engage in to find leads. Prospecting is the livelihood or lifeblood of real estate business and involves proactively finding people through phone and face-to-face contact. It is the most immediate and cost-effective way to build your business. Prospecting includes calling for sell by owners, expired listings, the past customers, as well as meeting people face-to-face through door-to-door canvassing and community events. For example, prospecting is a contact sport. It's up close and personal. We hear this over and over from our research of the top agents. It takes a personal approach. It's about personal relationships. Prospecting is communicating directly with people and offering valuable services. It's picking up the telephone, sending someone something out, or letting the world know that you are a real estate agent and that you can help them. Some agents mistakenly think prospecting is trying to talk somebody into something, and it's not. If they need your services, you're there to offer that. It's that simple.
Awesome. Give me an aha from this paragraph, if somebody would, please. Yes.
I think that just that, I mean, that's one of my big hangups is it just feels so salesy, so telemarketing, but I love the last sentence on there. If they need your services, you're there. It's that simple. You know, you're just talking to people about the fact that you're in real estate and you're great at it. And if they want you, great. If they don't, then on to the next person.
You know what? It's about having mind share. The average person knows 7+ realtors. What's gonna make me and you stand out from the other people? And that's just consistently marketing to them 36 times a year through the 36 touch campaign. There are people that didn't use me. They knew that I was in real estate. There are people that did not use me. They knew that I was a realtor, but they used someone else. And I know a lot of people, they might feel a certain kind of way about that, but I know the average person is going to transact anywhere from 5 to 7 times over a course of their life. And so I'm going to continue to be the same person that Mark always is and always has been. And I have gotten so much business from that. And I know a lot of people where we'll get sour about it and get mad about it and call the people and you listed your house, but you didn't use me and something along those lines. I mean, it's always come from contribution. Take the high road. And at some point, I mean, they will come back to you. Just continue to be the same person that you've always been, that they've known you to be. I know Michelle and Justin do a great job. Michelle went out talking about prospecting, and Andy, we're talking about, passing out cards. We went to Bold in Arkansas. Michael Flores, our coach, he said, take a stack of 20 cards. And Michelle, what was it that he said to do with those cards?
Just pass it on the card and ask for business.
Yeah, there was a bit more of a script that went with it. Do you remember the script?
Yeah. Hi, I am Justin. I'm a real estate agent. I've just got like this competition going on today, and I cannot stop until I hand out all these cards. Here, take one, please.
Right. I got 20 cards to pass out. We take one. They'll take it. And you know what? There's been so much business that I've got from cards just given out. And I'm sure I'll take it. They have your card now. And that's a contact. I mean, talk to enough people, you're gonna get some business. Did you raise your hand, Steve?
Well, last night I went to shoot my pool league and I was practicing in this older gentleman come up and wanted to play pool with me. And I was talking to him and he asked me what I did. I said, oh, I'm a realtor. And he goes, oh, I don't live in this town. I said, I handed my card anyways. I said, I don't care where you live. If you want to sell your house or buy a home, let me know and I'll find someone for you.
Right. Can we make referrals in this business?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I don't want to there for a second.
I have a thought, and so I've got a few people that know tons of people and have tons of real estate friends. And I told one of them, and I'm like, I'm not into taking a discount, but I told one of them, like, I'll do your first deal for free. You always refer me.
Yeah. I mean, if you know that many people, yeah.
And you wouldn't do that for I mean, and also he's a close friend, but he's a
Sure.
close friend with lots of connections. And
Sure.
To me, it was, yeah.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I got you. No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, for sure.
Hit me with the script one more time. I'm in a competition with another
Oh,
agent.
yeah, my name is Mark. I'm with Keller Williams today. I'm in a contest. I've got to pass out 20 business cards. Boom, give it to them. Oftentimes they'll be reaching for it. I mean, so if I'm going up to you at Walmart, hey, I'm Mark Stewart. I'm with Keller Williams. I'm in a huge contest today. I've got to pass out 20 business cards. Will you take one from me? Sure. Perfect. And oftentimes that's a great way to start a conversation. Yeah, I'm looking to buy or I'm looking to sell. I don't know anybody right now. No problem. Just keep my card in case you run across anyone that may be looking to either buy a home or sell a home.
Yeah, I love that. It's so helpful. To me, I'm an outgoing person. I have no problem talking to people.
Right.
But I just need something that makes me not feel stupid
Right.
to come up and talk to some strange person. And yeah, that's great. I mean, something as simple as that.
Yeah.
And then if they want to strike up a conversation about real estate, they will. And if not, maybe they throw it away, but it costs you a penny for a
Right.
business card. So who
That's it.
cares? Love
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Go
So
for it,
like
Justin.
a variation of that is like the thing I do when I door knock is I just go, like, are you familiar with the Bold 100? So it's like you have to make 100 contacts in a day, all right? Whether that be 100 two-way conversations, phone, directly talking, however you want to do it. So I knock on the door, and whether or not I'm in the Bold 100 or not, I go, hey, I got to hand out 100 of these. I'm in a competition. And like when I hand them my card, I kind of look down and what's your natural reaction? You take the card, right? And so I take the card and I go, yeah, I'm just looking for people looking to buy or sell in the area, blah, 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 blah. Well, we're not. I go, okay, well, do you know anybody? And now I'm in. And now, how long have you lived here? Oh yeah, really? What do you like about the place? Oh yeah, really? Well, blah, blah, blah. And then now like we're in a real conversation. So it just starts out with like, hey, I'm in a competition. I got to get rid of 100 of these, which is like challenging. So they're like willing to accept.
Yeah, because they just want to help you out.
Yeah.
They're willing to accept a business card from you, but if you knocked on the door and said, hey, I have to talk to 100 people about real estate, they may just slam the door
Right.
on you. But it's just like a small little nugget and then it turns into something more. I love that.
I tell you what, I've never had a door slammed in my face door knocking.
No.
Never.
Oh, yeah.
I've knocked 100 doors in one day. I did my Bold 100 that way.
Was this before? or
How much
after?
business did you get from that Bold 100?
I got 3 deals.
There you go.
Average sales price, I mean, average property is what, 250?
No, that was in 18, so it was only 179.
Right, right. But it's still $5,000, I mean, for
With no
spending a
inflation.
day knocking doors.
All right, so can I challenge you though? If I go out tomorrow and I knock on 100 doors and I get 3 deals off of it, then I'm gonna be knocking on 100 doors every day for the rest of my real estate career. So are you still knocking on 100 doors a day? Why? No, I mean, I'm not trying to be.
Because I got
smart aleck.
lazy.
I'm just
No,
saying,
I got lazy.
I would just keep doing that.
Right,
I need
right.
exercise too, so I can exercise and.
Oh, if it's a good day outside, man, it doesn't even bother you. It's like, it's so enjoyable just to be walking around like yesterday, perfect day. Wind
But when
blowing
it's
in your
hot, it's
face, sun.
Dude, link up with, I don't door knock anymore and I should. I probably should get back out there and do it. But link up with anybody and I used to make up flyers.
Yep. Give a fly, yeah, have something of value. Get a page from Broker Metrics, talks about the average sales price to list price ratio. Get the page where it talks about the average sales price of houses these days. Give them something of value. I'm gonna list a house in Prairie View Heights that I knocked the guy's door 5 years ago. He paid $229,000 for the house when he bought it, and now we're gonna list it for $550. This is from me door knocking 5 years ago. I've kept in contact with him. I can't tell you how many people I've sold houses to by going door knocking, and just put them in my CRM and just dripped on them. I mean, what I want everyone to be able to get out of this class is just to get out of your own way and don't fear making contact with people. If you're afraid of making contact with people, you're in the wrong business, because real estate is a contact sport. It's glamorous because you see people driving nice cars, living in nice houses, but what you don't see is all the hard work that goes behind those agents that are doing it at a higher level.
Have you ever door knocked an apartment building?
I did not, actually I door hung a lot of things, and I got called to take those door hangers off. Because it was private property.
Mail, you have to mail. I live in apartments, and I'm really good friends with the property management, and they were like, we'll do it until we get 3 complaints. I got like 8 within the first hour. So, yeah, you get the cops called on you real quick.
And you know something else? I come from the world of vacuum sales, selling door to door, right? And so I started doing door to door sales with Kirby in 1994 when I moved to Springfield. Okay, there's parts of Springfield that are still fighting the war. Justin knows what I'm talking about. So, and that business, you never get a second chance to make a great first impression. So I mean, back in those days, I had to wear a tie. But I'm out in the country in Ava and Mountain Grove. I'm knocking doors to Sweet Floors. That rhymed actually. I didn't mean for it to rhyme. But I'm out knocking doors to Sweet Floors, and you know, that's where I got a lot of my experience from. But you always have to dress the part. So if you're in an apartment complex, I mean, dress the part of a professional, and you're least likely to get some feedback from people complaining about who's knocking my door. It's not guaranteed, but it's gonna help.
I love what you said, get out of your own way. I mean, that's literally my biggest problem is get out of my way.
Get
and
out
just
of your own
go.
way.
Let's go.
I mean, write that down. I mean, write it down. Get out of your own way. Put it in your windshield. Put it on your mirror at home. Get out of your own way. Set a goal on a daily basis to talk to 20 people. Daily. Andy, daily. We're not that busy. I mean, we're just not. We're looking for excuses, just being candid. We're looking for reasons.
For sure.
We're just looking for reasons we're looking for reasons to say it can't be done.
It's the ickiest thing we do.
It is, and I'm guilty of it too.
If we make it icky, but.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, Christina, take marketing, would you please? Attracting leads.
Marketing, attracting leads. Marketing is what drives leads to find you. Marketing attracts customers to you through the use of words, color, and design on real estate signs, advertisements, mailers, business cards, magazines, and sponsorships, for example. You can be proactive in getting your marketing design produced and placed, but for the most part, marketing is a passive, indirect, and costly approach. Marketing can, however, reach a broad audience and tell people about you even when you're not around. When done effectively, people notice you and hopefully will remember you.
Awesome. Aha from that paragraph. Who's got one?
Passive, indirect, and costly.
So what does that mean to you, Justin?
Prospecting's cheaper and free. Cheaper, free, and direct.
Yeah.
Instant results.
Yeah. Love it. Michelle, will you take the next? We're on page 16.
Yes. A mix of the two, prospecting and marketing. is what it makes for a strong lead generation system. When applied to the two general target populations, METs and heaven METs, your actions of prospecting and marketing enable you to better convert them to appointments and subsequently close transaction. So this uses terms defined in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. METs are defined to be those people that you have met, gained contact information for, and put into a contact tracking system. Heaven METs are the rest of the public that you have not yet contacted and turn into METs.
Okay. Let me see what you're reading. You're 16, huh?
We're on 15.
It's the note on the bottom underneath the
Oh,
thing.
I lost you. I'm like, hold on, this doesn't look like, this is what my 16 looks like.
I don't have that.
Oh, okay.
16.
Do you wanna, here you go. So she can, yeah, we.
Take the first two paragraphs in 16, Christina.
Um,
Oh, not Christina,
Michelle.
Michelle.
Yeah.
Our research of top-performing agents tell us the combination of prospecting and marketing makes for the best lead generation program, and the most effective combination is prospecting-based and marketing enhanced. It is critical at this point in your career to examine what it means to have a lead generation program that is prospecting-based and marketing enhanced. In the beginning, you focus 95% on prospecting.
Perfect. Will you take it up from there?
While marketing is a highly leveraged activity, that is one that you can do through others on a more passive or automated basis. It is also more costly and often less effective than the simple activities of personal prospecting. In fact, most new agents can't afford to do much marketing. Nevertheless, top agents combine marketing with prospecting and get great results. We have layered marketing on top of the prospecting, says Brett Puffer of Puffer Team in Asheville, North Carolina. That gives us additional credibility when we show up on the appointment. But it is, generally speaking, a very small fraction of what makes the phone ring. When I show up, people know who I am from the marketing, but what actually gets me the appointment is making the call.
No, go, you're fine.
Okay. A great example of combining prospecting with marketing is the Mail Call See program that Gene Rivers of the Rivers team has implemented in Tallahassee, Florida. Gene begins with the mail component of the program by sending out things that will hopefully create interest and pique people's curiosity. This is the marketing component. Second, the call involves a phone contact to quiz all of those who receive the marketing piece to find if there is any interest and curiosity. This is phase one of prospecting. For those who do express interest, Gene moves to step 3, C. He gets in the car and drives out to visit them so he can meet them face to face. This is the second phase of prospecting. Gene's Mail Call See program illustrates how complementary prospecting and marketing are more powerful when done together. His mailing would not have been as effective without the follow-up call. Likewise, the mailing made his calls more impactful as they supplied both a reason for the call and a topic to discuss. With this 1-2 punch of prospecting and marketing, Gene's visits were strategically set up for success. Brad Korn agrees that a phone call following a mailed piece amplifies your results 10 times. A handwritten note or face-to-face visit can amplify the result by 100 times.
Awesome. What does that mean to everybody here? Tell me something.
Face to face.
Every angle.
What's that?
You're using every angle.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much sums it up.
Is he making an appointment to go see, or is he just stopping by?
Stopping by.
In the neighborhood.
Okay.
Probably even door knocking the entire neighborhood too, I'd imagine. like,
Yeah.
Not just seeing the people that called, but like also.
So in other words,
All
he's
the people
farming,
that
he may be
answer.
farming that neighborhood.
That's exactly what he's doing. He's farming the neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. All right, take it, we're on page 17, take it from there.
The top about
The Nikki Ubaldini, correct.
Ubaldini. Okay, Nikki Ubaldini of the Gary and Nikki team in Clearwater, Florida, has sold more than 200 homes a year for the last 6 years. She believes in a balance of prospecting and marketing. Some trainers in real estate say that all you have to do is prospect for new business. Don't call past customers or build relationships. says Nikki. Others say to forget prospecting and just call your friends and past customers. Still others say to focus on marketing yourself. But if you are doing all three of these things and one thing falls off, you still have two parts of your business to carry you.
Go and take one more paragraph if you would.
As suggested in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, even if you lead generate throughout marketing, you'll need to a prospect. I got it. You'll need prospecting program to drive leads to your business and protect against market shifts. How does prospecting help protect you from market shifts? Prospecting is inexpensive, even free, so it certainly fits into your tight budget. But prospecting also keeps your skills sharp and your finger on the pulse of the market. If you understand the importance of mastering and building your confidence around a few prospecting techniques, you will surely set yourself apart from the flood of agents who will be competing for the same leads during challenging marketing times.
So Andy, with this, I mean, it's just basically saying, figure out a couple techniques that you're comfortable with. Because there are some techniques that I suck at and I don't even do. So, I mean, I'll do the activities that I'm good at, and the other ones I don't worry about. I'll let somebody else do those things. And then yesterday, who was here for team meeting when Tim Beverland was talking about that?
That's good information.
What did you take out of that? And it's actually combined with this too.
Yeah, so instead of, especially with those newer agents, we have to focus on not spending a whole lot of money. I don't have money, like, I just don't. And how was talking about taking and making your money work better for you instead of just frugalously spending it, that speaks to us more so than the really experienced agents.
I also, and I'm gonna go actually back to last Thursday with Dan and the 6 perspectives, and the E to P like broke my world. And I finally understood that me trying to be creative and do all these fun things that are fun for me to do, but not what's actually supposed to be done, and I've been told what to do, is me breaking from E to P. And so literally just do the things that we're being told to do and it will work.
It will.
It does.
It does. No, absolutely.
And I had to overcome that. So like it literally just.
I mean, when you look at your multi-year trends on Keller Williams, does everyone know what the multi-year trends are?
We're all too new for that.
Okay, when you go to your page, you're gonna see, when you go to, I don't wanna mess up this page, but it'll tell you year over year over year what your trends are. It'll tell you what your sales are, it'll tell you what your GCI is, gross commission income. It'll give you all those things. And when you went from E to P and you've hit that ceiling of achievement, you're gonna have the same GCI for 2, 3, 4 years until you actually plug in, because from this point to this point, we're entrepreneurial. We're doing what God has given us as talent. And then once we get to this level, then we have to become purposeful. That's when you get into MAPS coaching. That's when you get into MAPS coaching. That's when you just dive in deep, go to as many training events as you can. And usually by that time, you've had a lot of pain. So it's forced you to go to another level. That's kind of what I experienced when I came from Murney to here. I'd reached my ceiling of achievement. I was selling 23 to 25 houses a year, making $80,000 to $90,000 a year. I didn't know how to get to the next level. So I came to Keller Williams, plugged into the model. It's at 20%. Started lead generating every day. Well, not every day. It took me a while to get to there. It took me a while to start getting to the office at 8:32. But that's when I plugged into the lead generate, lead follow-up, going on appointments, negotiating contracts and scripts and role play. And then it's actually taken me 10 bolds to get to the point where I created that color-coded calendar. So therefore, when I'm on the phone and a person says, well, can you show me a house right now? I'll look at my planner and say, I can show you a house today at 3 o'clock or whatever the green section says. So I leave everything else alone.
Love that.
So that's kind of going from entrepreneurial to purposeful. All right, where were we, will you take from where we left off?
Lead generation is a purposeful and coordinated act of both prospecting and marketing that requires effort. The prospecting component, which is face-to-face and one-on-one contact, is critical. To have a truly strong and sustainable business, you must embrace prospecting. Get the training you need, practice it, and just do it. Think of marketing as a complement to prospecting and don't depend on marketing alone to drive leads to you. Both activities are integral to the lead generation puzzle. Integral. I can't
You're
talk
good.
today. You will.
We're good.
Look how close I have to read. You will also want a combination of prospecting and marketing, but you will have to carefully assess when or if to tip the scales on the side of marketing based on your budget, your time, and your goals.
I mean, are they mentioning the word prospecting enough through this? I mean, are we getting, I mean, are we understanding the importance of prospecting and figuring out what we're going to be good at? And the MREA, Gary talks about figuring out what your 4 level or what your 4 legs of lead generation are. Yes, sir.
One thing that's not talked about is how like Facebook and marketing yourself is somewhat less expensive as opposed to, you know, paying for marketing. And, you know, so that can be something that definitely doesn't have the same amount of cost.
Absolutely. You know, and this material, I mean, it's at least probably 10 years old. So, I mean, back then when this material was made, I mean, social media, TikTok, I mean, well, they weren't around. But definitely add that to it. Yes, Steve? Oh, they're gonna say something. All right. So next, do you have material?
Yes.
We're on page 18 at the top. Prospecting reinforces marketing.
You know, I don't have
No worries.
glasses. This is too small to read.
Oh, here, take this.
Okay, sweet.
I can barely read my computer.
Prospecting can be easier led by marketing. Marketing can provide reason for your call or visit. And in fact, prospecting after marketing can dramatically increase the odds of getting business. I can warm up and purely cold call, for example, after mailing an inexpensive postcard in a neighborhood announcing a home that was recently listed. You could cold call, or you could call or visit residents and open with conversation. Good day, my name is Josh. I'm in real estate. Did you receive my postcard? I sent it regarding your neighbor's home that was for sale. Do you know anyone that might be interested in this home? I would appreciate, it would be my pleasure to provide the answer to any of your real estate questions.
Is that the end of it?
You want to keep going?
Yeah, I think there's one more paragraph on there.
Sure. Marketing validates you. It creates recognition and reputation. People may see your sign, flyers before they meet you and feel like they already know you. Therefore, you want marketing of yourself or your branding to call attention to you and attract people to you. People will form impressions of you quickly. So marketing should represent who you are and the professionalism and customer value you bring to every aspect of your business. A great example of how marketing can really work is branding of the McKissick team in Denton, Texas. Pictures of Jimmy and Linda McKissick feature them giving a thumbs up after a while, random strangers in the grocery store, video retail store, doctors' waiting rooms, begin giving them thumbs up. It took a few times for Jimmy and Linda to connect the dots and realize that their branding marketing was a success. You will learn more about all of the aspects of marketing, lead generation in Power Session 3 marketing.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
And that's a great script that's on there. You know, I know when you're doing door knocking, write the address down and then send them a handwritten card. Because how many people, when you get a handwritten card in the mail and it's actually handwritten with your blue ink and it's got a return address on there, how many of you all will actually open that letter?
All of them.
Okay. Now, when you get those letters that look like they're made, what happens to those?
Boo.
Go in the trash, exactly. So, you know, when you're doing door knocking, cement the relationship you have with that person by sending them a handwritten card. So therefore, when you call, you can call them back and use a script, somewhere along there, and, you know, it becomes more personal at that point. Who's done that? Oh, yeah, go ahead, Josh.
I just have thought, if you have really terrible handwriting, you could delegate that too.
There you go. Right.
Probably a female.
Right. What's that?
She does handwritten notes all the time to our SOI and anybody we meet. She's really good at that. Mine can't read anything.
Yeah.
Have you gotten phone calls, leads from doing that? Absolutely. I mean, it works. It does. It absolutely does. People just don't do it anymore.
Takes more time, but worth it.
Right. It's part of lead generating. So treat each day as a job, JOB. You guys know what job stands for?
Just above broke.
That's it. So treat every day like a job, work at 8 hours a day, and do your 20%, during 8 hours of the day.
Is that what it stands for? Because
Just over broke.
Oh, okay. Oh, like a jab.
You guys.
No, that's something that you hear in the sales field, just over broke.
Yeah, I've never heard that one.
All right, so on page 19, on the second paragraph, it reads, "Don't fall for the myth, I don't have the money to lead generate. Invest your time in prospecting and lead with revenue. You can start prospecting today with a list of people and your phone." The cheapest and most efficient and effective way of lead generating. Pick up the phone or get some good tennis shoes and do some door knocking. So on page 20, I'd like for you guys to take about 5 minutes, and I would like for you to fill out that table. It says, assess yourself, where are you now with prospecting and marketing? Directions, answer the following questions and fill out the grid. How much time each day, each week, each month, or year do you devote to prospecting? Question 2, how much money do you spend on a daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly basis on marketing? Take a few minutes, if you would, fill that out for me. Not for me, but for the class, for yourself. And I guess I could forward to you guys. There we go. Okay. Anyone care to share?
Yep, I'll be vulnerable here. So tracking wise, 0 all the way across the board. I couldn't tell you a darn thing
Love it.
until.
I don't mean I love it. No, I love, I love you being real. I love you being vulnerable.
Until Monday, I didn't even have like anything set up. So I'm getting to the point where I have the tracking availability now, and I have that system that is going to be implemented to help me track it. But for right now, 0 across the board. I couldn't tell you a darn thing.
So when are you going to implement it?
Monday, like 2 days ago.
Oh, so you've already implemented it?
Like yes, I've got it set up, and actually I went and talked with Josh to get some finalization for my 4 hours of lead gen in the morning to implement it and start tomorrow. Like it's all ready and it's going to start tomorrow.
So what does that look like for you? Who are you calling? What are you doing?
Yes, I have to make my list. So I have 5 neighborhoods I'm going to start with, and this is good because it's the mail call, door knocking, and updating it a little bit, but getting that solidified, and now I will be able to track and have this next week, and I can tell you my
Awesome.
weekly.
So being that you've taken that step, how does that make you feel?
Way outside of my comfort zone because I am not organized whatsoever, but it'll happen. It's going to happen. It has to happen. So you can track it.
Mhm. And then continue that on a daily basis to the point when then you can hire a piece of leverage to help you stay in your 20%.
Yep.
Who else would like to be vulnerable on what these numbers look like and what they have looked like? Yes, Josh.
So, I was doing about 1.5 hours a day, 4 days a week. I include like meeting referral partners for coffee, but making direct phone calls as well. I think that 6 times 4, 24 hours a month, 312 a year. And I'm not paying anything for marketing.
Great. So through those efforts, what is that helping with? What does that tell you?
You mean as far as like direct leads and?
Direct leads and what you're getting out of, what kind of leads have you gotten out of what you've done so far?
I have a buyer looking for a high-end house. I'll be listing his house after we find something.
Okay.
And, but, I'm trying to connect with people that I haven't really been cold calling. I'm sort of getting into my sphere and just letting people know what I'm doing. So, I don't know, are we counting that as direct prospecting? Because it's, some of these people, I know they're not listing. Some people are close friends, some people are acquaintances.
Right.
But it's still, being on the phone or meeting
I
for
say
coffee.
yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Fear is still prospecting.
right, because you're bringing up real estate.
Sure.
So absolutely it's prospecting. I mean, it's to your database, it's your SOI.
Yeah. Okay.
So, no, that's good. That's fantastic.
I'll piggyback on that. So because you just said that, I don't do any cold calling. I don't go out and all of my business is word of mouth only and referral based only.
Mhm.
So I have on average 3 to 8 closings a month. And I don't have any lead generation until I came to Keller Williams. I'm brand new here.
You
But
were where
it was at Home Sweet Home. It was a boutique brokerage.
Okay, out of Ozark?
Nixa.
Okay, thanks, okay.
So there was no way for me to really, everyone's like, well, how do you keep track of all your, prospects? And I'm like, my phone, my spreadsheet, like we didn't have a database
Right.
type of CRM like we do now. So when I was gonna say maybe like an hour a day prospecting, but if I'm talking to my sphere and my clients, like, do you know anyone that's looking to sell? Like, that's how all of my business is, that's what my business is based on. And then now I do spend $600 a month on marketing. I
Okay.
have a billboard and
Okay. So by a show of hands, who has a sales goal for the year? So come January 1st, you actually know what your goal is by a show of hands. Raise them high so I can
That's a
see.
GCI goal. It's not.
GCI goal. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
mine's money in my bank account.
7, 8, 9. Okay. And it's important that you have a goal because we can set up everyone knows what a 135 is, correct? Or maybe not because everyone's new. Everyone that's worked with me knows what a 135 is. But that's your main goal, your 3 priorities, and then your 5 action steps that are going to help accomplish those, your 3 priorities. So by not having a goal up, it's really tough. I know, speaking from personal experience, if I don't have a goal, then there's no fuel and there's no fire to help me get there. So I have to have a number goal. And then once I have a number goal, I know what my average sales price is. And then if I take my average sales price and then I'll divide in my commission, you know, my average sales price is, I'll take the commission, divide that into my number of sales goal. That tells me how many units that I need to sell on an annual basis. And then once I know the number of units that I have, then I'm going to figure out what my legs of lead generation are and what my business is going to come from. Mine is referrals and SOI, referrals and SOI. That's pretty much what my business comes from now, as I'm on the spot. And then I'll just know how many referral deals I got to close a month and how many deals I get from my past clients and past client referrals. So have your monetary goal. So Josh, do you have, what's your and just trying to help, do you know what your monetary goal is for the year?
I know what I'd like to make, but I intentionally don't have this goal because I go thoroughly by, if you do something right, people will tell one person, and if you screw something up, they'll tell 10.
Sure.
Being that I'm brand new, I would rather learn exactly how to do my job and not have too much stuff coming in.
Sure.
And screw stuff up.
Sure.
So I intend on having that goal after working for 3 or 4 months.
Okay, yeah, so once you get through there, then be sure and figure out what that goal is and give it Tim a call or Mike or somebody and figure out what that number is going to look like. And then you'll figure out the activities that'll help you get there. You say something? Okay. Anyone else say anything? Okay, cool.
Is that okay? Like, I mean, to me, that makes more sense, but I mean, I know that goal needs to be made, but
I feel like you're almost having a limiting belief with that because you're essentially just taking on what work you can potentially get. And I can tell you because I thought the same way. I needed to have all my systems perfect. I needed to have all these things perfect. And you miss out on a lot of opportunities to where even if maybe you didn't do it 100% perfect during that transaction, it's okay because now you can keep track of that. Maybe you didn't have your scripts perfect. Maybe you didn't have your dates perfect or anything. And now you can just simply track it and know what it is you can improve on for the next time.
So with your overhead, Josh, permission to ask, to pay your overhead, does it come from real estate or do you have other sources of income to help out while you're getting acclimated?
I have other sources of income.
Okay, so you're a little different than probably a lot of people that are in here. A lot of people in here are probably generating, what they generate from real estate is actually what they're having to pay their bills with. And so you're in a little different situation. So there's not that, you don't need that number to get your bills paid. Whereas other people, if you need real estate to pay your bills, you need to have that number as far as transaction goal per month. And then take the average sales price on the board of things, take 250. So take the commission out of 250 and then divide that into what you need to pay your overhead. And then that will give you your transaction goal for the year. And then from there, you'll figure out what the activities are that you need to do on a daily basis. Am I making sense to everybody? Okay, we're on page 21.
Can I ask you something unrelated to what we, or kind of related to what we just talked about? How many transactions can a single agent do without getting to the point that they need leverage?
Okay, what do you score on your disc? Have you done a disc?
No. I mean, I kind of know what I am.
What
from
are you?
years past. I'm kind of a mix. I'm kind of a somewhat dominant, somewhat of a you know.
No less than 24 transactions. Paulina, I mean, she did what, 60 or 70, I think, and she did it all herself.
A month
80.
or a year?
80 a
Oh.
year, and all she had was a
Right.
transaction coordinator.
Okay, because I just did the math on what I want to make in a year's time, and it's about 50 transactions.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to wrap my mind
Yeah.
around, can I do that with, I mean, a transaction coordinator is easy enough to leverage off, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Is this your only
absolutely.
job?
yeah.
I think a lot of new agents tend to only work like 2 or 3 hours, at least some of them we've talked to. You know, if you're putting in a full day's work, you know, you're gonna have more time to do all the paperwork and everything else that you need to do and work your business as well as do the prospecting. You know, some people don't treat it like a job, they treat it like a hobby.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so far, I've not even considered doing a transaction coordinator, because my point is I wanna know the whole process through and through before I start having someone else do it, because I didn't wanna just,
Like with your transaction coordinator, they don't write offers for you.
Right.
They start the paperwork for you. They don't.
right, but I mean,
Let them do it.
to me, in my opinion, as a new agent, if you hire a transaction coordinator from the beginning, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you need to know what the whole thing looks like front and back. I wanna do at
I
least 10 or
disagree
20
with that
deals.
because I've used
I do
Onward
too.
for multiple, I mean, I'm probably 10 to 12 transactions in throughout, I started before I finished teaching, but I don't just like do this, do this, and I just check out. I'm still doing the work alongside them. I'm still following
I
along,
literally had
so.
Tori do a sell side, I did a buy side while she was doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I've still written the offer, I'm still doing the inspection notice, I'm still running down all sorts of stuff. I sort of feel like they're more of like a proofreader almost while I'm to double check me and make sure I'm not messing up. And, $250 for that assurance to know I'm not just floating out there like, I totally didn't know you were even supposed to do that. I felt like it was not me not learn. It's the opposite of me not learning.
Well, to me, it wasn't about the money. It's just I want to truly understand the process.
They will
So
help you
that if something
understand.
comes up, if something comes up on a Sunday night at 8:30 PM, I want to know how to do it, not just be like, I can't
And I
do
think
it.
I
'cause
do.
the
I know
transaction
what I'm doing. I'm not just, it's not that. It's just the reassurance more than the hats
Yeah.
off of
It's a
responsibility.
valid point.
We cost ourselves a ton of money by wanting to have that power and knowing that something is, I mean, it's another one of those mindsets, another one of those beliefs that, looking back on it, I was the same way and wanted to be a part of it. All those times, all those contracts I had to be a part of, nothing came out of it. I should have been doing my 20%. It was another, for me, it was just a way not to do my lead generation.
Yeah, and that's kind of
Same, yeah, me
what I've
too.
been into.
I'd rather sit and do all the organizing and paperwork. Like, that is so comfort level for me. I mean, I'd rather do that for 8 hours all day than
Make sure the
call 4
font is
people.
just the right size, make sure it's
Yes,
centered.
that is
make
right
sure
in my
it's
comfort
legible
zone.
to the other agent.
If you're in
Yes.
coaching with Brian, Onward provides their service for free.
Yeah.
So, for at least what's coaching, 5 transactions.
Wow.
Something like that. So at least you can go in, still kind of learning what you're doing. And then, while you're learning all that, you don't have to pay for it. It's covered in your agreement for that.
And kind of by using one of those services, it's not like you have hired a transaction
No.
coordinator on your staff to
It's a
work for you
cost of sale.
nonstop, and then you're responsible for their livelihood. And that's a totally different setup that probably is what Mark probably has someone that's dedicated, that's one of his.
Oh, Jill does. I think she has 10 or 12 other people that she works for. And she's wonderful. She helps write my defects notices. She does it all. My first team leader told me, Mark, this is what it looks like. A buyer that you work with will consume about 50 hours of your time. And when you have 3 to 4 buyers consuming 50 hours of your time, you're working from sun up to sundown. And so really, when you look at a buyer, through the buyer presentation showing properties, you're about 14 to 16 hours in of client-facing time. Then you take the other 26 hours, pay somebody else to do it, then you can do more lead generation. I read the book, Fanatical Prospecting, and if you haven't read that book, get it. It'll give you a swift kick in your butt.
What was the name of that?
Fanatical Prospecting.
Fanatic.
Fanatic prospecting, fanatical. Fanatical.
But just it's fanatic, not
Fanatic.
like
Fanatical
fantastical.
prospecting. And there's one scenario he takes an example of what his annual income is. Divides that by the number of hours, divides it by the number of weeks, and then divides that by the number of hours that he works in a week, and then divides it by the day or whatever, and he comes up with his hourly rate. I did mine. I mean, it was over $100 an hour that I will cost myself to do my own transaction coordinating. So why not pay somebody else $350 if you take $350, which you'll cost me? Someone have a calculator, take 350, divide that by 26 hours. And
13.46.
we're paying ourselves $13 an hour to babysit our contracts from contract to close. Pay somebody else to do it.
And I'm on the other end. I'm very, I don't want to, I'm like what you said, I don't want to lose control of I feel like if I hire a transaction coordinator on where I'm losing control of what's being done with my clients and my, from transaction to close.
They're not
So-
even talking to my clients, rather, but barely, maybe like an email, could you sign this real quick? That it's
Okay.
it's not like that. It's not like I just said, hey, I got this sale, you take it from here. I'm still doing a lot of that same stuff.
Okay.
Right.
I think you can do it like à la carte, like what. like if you
Yeah,
want-
totally.
Hey, Mark,
Yes.
Oh my God.
can you hear me?
Definitely.
Hey, this is Brian Jackson.
What's up, BJ?
I'm just going to chime in. So honestly, the best thing that's happened to me since coming to Keller Williams at the end of last year is you recommending Jill to me. I
Thank you.
have absolutely loved using her, and everything I do now, listing wise, she sets up my listing stuff for me, and then I just take it to the appointment and get it edited and do what I need to do. Now they're even offering stuff. If you know you're going to be writing an offer on a property, they can take care of the initial paperwork for you there. So on and so there is just so much that they do. I wish I'd have started doing that 20 years ago.
And Brian, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay. What was your mindset and what was your response to me when I said one of the first things you need to do is get a transaction coordinator? What was your
I was
answer?
totally against letting go of the reins. That's what it amounted to. It was a control thing for me. And my wife's been telling me for 25 years that I'm a control freak, and I know I am, but I didn't want to let go of the control, and I was afraid that that somebody else couldn't do it as well as I would, and that's just not been the case. Jill's been wonderful, and it's $250 if it's a buyer folder, a buyer file, $350 if it's a seller file. So well worth the money.
And so with giving Jill that contract and the contract to close, how has that helped you?
Again, it gives me the time to focus on what I need to be doing and filling my time with so that I can get more contracts and more, sit at the tables and so on and so forth. Look, the whole point of this game is to be with people transacting, either buyers or sellers transacting. And the more I can be doing that and the less I'm paying attention to the minor details going on behind the scenes, the better off I am.
Yeah. Brian,
Thank you,
thanks for chiming in from the Lords up there.
My pleasure.
All right, so let's move on. We're not gonna get through all this material, and I apologize for that. It's just not gonna happen. I want to be impactful enough and be able to help you guys, and if you guys have any questions as we're going through, ask me. But I'm going to encourage you to take the material that we have and finish reading it at some point. All right, I don't want to just skim over stuff and not dive into it if, I just want to be able to get some out of it. All right. Does anyone need to use the restroom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. So, let's take 10 minutes and we'll start again. Michelle's already used the restroom.
I'm not trying to argue, I'm not a debater.
No, sometimes I need someone to challenge my beliefs on what I'm doing.
Learning
So,
so much along the way. It's like, I'm not just checked out.
We like to
My
quote
husband-
Ted Lasso
My husband
too.
started as a transaction coordinator, because it just was getting too much for him to, that's just not his, he's not detail oriented. And so it was really hard for him to get paperwork properly, and then you have so many deadlines of when you get it done. And it really has just freed up more time to make phone calls, like really.
So
I love
my
detail.
issue
I
is,
would love to, I love.
These weren't
like
necessarily
that.
people.
I'm the same way.
To be
my
selfish.
issue is I am detail oriented, so I'm like, it's not that big of a deal to me. Like, I just go through and I'm getting it all done, but yes, I need
Sort
to
of.
get to a point where it's
I
like,
don't know.
okay, if
Using
someone else
your-
can do this for
Using your
$300
friends for.
and I can spend that hour of
And
time
it's kind of like,
knocking
I
on
know
doors
you
or
might-
something.
You might mess up.
Totally.
I've got somebody else who's like, oh, we actually are supposed to do that, you know, like.
It's really been beneficial for us, for him, like I just joined him, but it's been really beneficial for him to kind of take that step into it. At first, the first several, the first several ones he did himself, and then, after, he was like.
I just want to get to the point where I've done several myself, so that if something comes up, I know how to do it. But I mean, I get
There's
your.
always going to be something that comes up that you don't know how to do.
True.
And you always have to get other people to help you that have been doing it longer. I mean, like, that's just true, that's.
And that's the nice thing about a transaction coordinator, is they do so many deals, is they already know when the rare thing
And
comes
they,
up.
and it's, you know, everyone here is so willing to help each other, but
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Somebody's
I don't
already
know,
there to
all
do
the
it.
People who are in the middle of their day doing, hey, can you stop for 30 minutes and help me figure out this person my owner thing? But that's what they're looking to do, so it's kind of.
Oh, they're gonna.
It just really helps. I know it's helped him, like I haven't done it if I started.
I'm meeting with the.
So how do they do it, like whenever they're sending out something to be signed?
They have, like, all my past reps, like.
Just, I mean, that's just keep working on it.
It's coming from you when
No,
they're docu-signing it?
Kurt still has to go in and docu-sign everything. He still
I mean,
has
I've
to do
signed
something.
my stuff too,
Right.
but, I mean, and a lot of things, yeah, I've completed, I've made them myself and, but no, it comes from Chelsea. It comes from actually closings at Onward Agent Services is the email. And, you know, honestly, I've got Chelsea helping me with some of the details. and
One that I went to.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask, how you kind of.
No one's like,
Yeah.
what, you're not doing
I have
this?
somebody that helps me stay on track with all my paperwork, because there's gonna be like paperwork, and they can help.
I don't even say like, I need help. I'm just saying,
Just this system.
my transaction coordinator will send you that.
So I will chime in though, I 100% agree with you.
Oh, that's
And
right.
it's great to have a TC, but here's the thing, does your TC work weekends?
She's always answered everything. that
I mean,
I'm
most
not, I'm
most
doing, yeah, and I might
transactions, like,
not.
you're gonna
bother her.
find yourself in that
What do you have,
situation, and so
25?
you do not wanna be that agent, because I've already heard a couple of agents
What's
just
up,
being
Mr. Monroe? How are you, sir?
that if you do not know the
Seven?
contract
Wait a
well
minute.
enough to send it off yourself, you
Okay.
can potentially lose out on like
Contract.
closing opportunities and
Yeah.
things like
Yeah,
that.
you
So
have to-
I,
yeah.
from a military mindset
How
with
are
me,
you?
it is definitely
Doing good for
to
yourself.
know what to do in place, like if you're not available.
And I'm
but
not totally
yeah.
clueless. I
Yeah,
wrote the
he's
contract, I wrote the offer. I'm writing, I'm following every step of it. I didn't
I mean, I
check
have my
out,
license.
you know.
Most TCs will walk you through it too, and like
Uh-huh.
help you do it. So you don't,
Oh my gosh.
but you should definitely know it
Four
yourself.
cylinder.
Okay.
Yeah, like Kurt knows what he, like, knows how to do all of it, but it's just easier to not.
One other cool thing is like, at the end, they put your,
Love that.
on Facebook all over the place, like, just closed, just sold, and then there was like a really cool ad that they kind of made for me that I didn't do that, and I wouldn't have, and, you know, it made me feel less like, oh, look what I did, everybody.
Okay.
Someone else saying, look what she did, everybody.
Yeah, it's a
Kind of
very good point.
Did you
Even that.
work at Republic?
No.
Where did you work? Kickapoo. Okay, never mind. Cause I was like, man, your face looks so familiar.
Well,
but-
yeah, I have friends that teach.
I was gonna say, a lot of teachers came from Republic, like Dan Brown actually was from Republic, he taught band, like actually back whenever I was younger and stuff, and so. Harris, not Dan, I don't remember, it starts with a D.
Hold on, 634, what's that?
He was a principal from Republic and stuff, so
Okay.
there's actually a lot of teachers I recognize. So that's kind of, but they say that teachers and nurses do really well translating over to real estate.
We have to talk to lots
Got that customer service.
Yes, you do. Even when you're.
We're gonna need it though. We're gonna need that septic tank. Still fine. Oh my gosh.
This is totally.
Very good point. Okay, well,
And, you know, I just.
you better start.
Well, I just find it interesting too, because like if you start thinking about it in
Oh
a
my
business
goodness.
mindset and you start thinking about, okay, so like with your money, right? I mean, if
Yeah,
you're spending
I will
$600
run out there.
on a billboard,
I'll run out there
is
this
it
afternoon.
placed in the
And,
neighborhood, like the area and the niche that it is you're wanting to appeal to?
Okay.
And even further, are you
Sure.
keeping track of how many people call in from your billboard sign? Do you even know like how much, or your marketing, whatever marketing it is you're doing? Do you even know how well it's performing? Do you want to keep throwing your money?
No,
if
nope.
It's not working.
Definitely not
You
that.
want to keep track of it and make sure
Sometimes
that you're
digital
applying.
marketing takes longer to.
I really
It's like
appreciate that,
it's
Mike.
passive legion. Like it's just.
It is, no, for sure, and then, what, how are you doing with the paperwork on your house? What can I do to help, or do you need any help with anything?
I've been kind of studying on is like how
Have
to effectively
you-
place like your social
There's an
media,
update on my
you know,
computer
ads and
right now.
marketing and stuff. And if you target, because it gives you the opportunity when you do that ad based off of zip code.
It's not a Mac. Okay.
So if you're doing
It's a
a Facebook
Samsung.
ad, then it- yeah, and you're
Where's-
doing your.
Hey.
It's a touch. And
I
so
like
even if
all
they look at your
the ones
card
that,
and they just see, oh, okay, well, that's
No,
your name.
that sounds great, so,
right, they don't
I'm gonna say get them over to
have
me, or try and email them, or should I try to meet you somewhere with those?
They just so happen to be
What are you
looking for a
talking
buyer
about,
on
man?
Facebook
It's
and
not
social
even-
media, they keep track of those
Oh.
algorithms when you type in
It
the
makes
search,
sense.
right? And so that's how they tailor.
See, this one's
their
fine.
ads to show up in a particular.
But I
Oh,
can't,
it's just that
it's
one
just
window
Word
in
documents.
particular?
Yeah, it's just Word
Just
documents.
keeping track of the money part and being.
The old-fashioned
effective
way.
is like.
See, I can't
you
even
won't
close
see
it, so I
as
have to
much
close all
results.
windows because I
Blindly
can't
calling
close
people.
them.
Well, Mike, I appreciate you giving me a call. They actually have me teaching. It's called,
So it's kind of funny that you guys.
I got a big old pamphlet
8
here.
hours of Legion a day, because that's mine, that's all I do, is Legion,
page
even
one.
whenever I'm off the clock, when I go to the gym, I got my shirt on with my number on, I'm getting it, you know, if I'm. out
I
of the restaurant or
know.
I'm handing out my cards. Like your job is to lead generate until you have those appointments, and then you set the appointment, and literally, it might be 6
Right?
hours a day of lead gen.
Trust me, I'm so appreciative and I love what I do, and like you selected me because you know me and my character and what I do, and I really appreciate that. Because I know you know all these thousands of agents.
The average, right, so, right, the average is what they're teaching is like 3 to 4 hours of lead gen each day. Do you want to be the average or do you want to beat your average?
Mhm.
So that's why I decided that I was gonna do 7
Makes
to
me
8
feel better,
hours a
though.
day until I got those appointments.
Exactly. I claim to be
I
no
like the point
genius.
of focusing on how much money you want to make or have made, divided by 52 weeks, divided by 40 hours in a day, and thinking, okay, is this task that I'm doing? $100 per hour to be focusing on this task.
Aha.
And you
There we
really
go.
have to put it in
Thank
that
you.
mindset because it's not anything
But now they're
bad
all
to
on-
anybody
okay, so
else.
this
You
is-
know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
there's
so now you got control over it.
Thank
You know what to do.
It's not entertaining your
control
business,
thing.
because if
Thank
those
you.
times are supposed to be for prospecting, well, then those meetings better,
Grab
or
the
those
stick and push the
meetings
button.
better be meaningful. It better not be just going out, you know,
Second
cousin
control.
Eddie
Grab the
to,
stick and push the
you know,
button.
talk about fishing or whatever, unless cousin Eddie is gonna help share, be your cheerleader.
That
what's
bugs the
up.
heck out of me when I cannot get a hold of somebody, when I want to show somebody to voice me, and it bugs me, and I can't stand it. That's one thing I've always said. I always want to be able to be reached. You're not gonna get a voicemail with me. If you do, I'm calling you back within a minute or whatever it may be. So, I'm trying to really, like, I think my class waiting on me. Go back to teaching, and then thank you so much. And I'm gonna run out there.
Going out and doing that,
Thank you, Myra.
that could lead to so much
Bye-bye.
more. It's.
Hey, Josh.
I had something right after and I knew you might go over, so I just didn't want to interrupt.
No, you're good. We gotta stop. I gotta stop at 1. I've got a 1:15.
Okay, no, I'll stay.
Yeah, I've got a 1:15.
It's one of those things where we're not like
All right, we'll jump back in.
business time.
Right, yeah, and then just thinking about the value of the people, and then,
All right.
I think we're on page 21 about this.
We are. Thank you for sharing that with me. There was something that I wanted to share, which I think is, all this is great material. But if you would, skip to page 63.
Here, you wanna
So we all on page 63?
See you.
go to-
The reality overcoming a limited mindset. The thick-skinned fearlessness expected in salespeople is more fiction than fact. It turns out that many people are struggling with a bone-shaking fear of prospecting. This fear tends to persist regardless of what they sell, how well they have been trained to sell it, how they manage their time or set their goals, or how much they personally believe in their product's worth. And that's something we were talking about earlier, is that limiting mindset. Where did we leave off on? Would you take up on page 63, our research confirmed?
Our research confirms that many real estate agents experience fear or anxiety about making contact with other people, particularly people they do not know. In fact, there was not one agent interviewed who confessed it was easy for me. I just picked up the phone and started talking to people and grew my business to mega status. It was hard for most of them. The successful ones just found ways to quickly get beyond their reluctance and get comfortable with their call. Their end goal was more important than the fear. Or in Gary Keller's case, my fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generating.
Read that one more time.
My fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generating. Boyd Brown of Salt Lake City recalls being scared like a baby about making calls. For some people, their limiting beliefs originate from childhood messages when they were told to be seen and not heard, or be happy with what you have. These messages can be very powerful and challenging to overcome. For others, the basic fear of rejection creates the reluctance. We all want to be in control of our destiny. To make a contact, you have to accept that the outcome may be no instead of yes.
Think about that for a minute. Give me 3 ahas from that paragraph that was huge. Somebody give me something.
My fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generation.
What a gimme, Justin.
It was the best one.
I mean, that's something we could write on the door when we leave out of our house or whatever it is that we do on a daily basis.
Well, I think it's encouraging to know that there was not one agent interviewed who confessed it was easy for me. So, I don't think it perpetuates our unwillingness. I think it actually helps to get through it and break through that it is difficult for everyone. We're not just born this way.
Who in here has had a job before? We all have. But you've had a job in here that you loved every facet of the responsibility that you had. Loved everything about it. There was not one thing you did not like. Raise your hand. Are you scratching your hair?
Well, I'm not raising my hand.
Don't put your hands up.
I sort of did.
One.
But it was sort
And
of,
it
you
was
said
sort of.
100%.
Well,
So all I'm saying is this. When you worked the other job, it didn't have near the amount of upside that real estate has. So what stops you from doing this? The fact that you don't have to. You don't have a time clock to punch.
Yeah.
That's what stops you. I mean, real estate breeds a lot of lazy people because you can get in real estate and not have to do anything. So embrace the lead generation, whatever it is, just find something that you like to do. Because when you're knocking doors, the hardest door to get out of is the car door. But once you're out of the car door, it's all about knocking. Same thing with cold calls. The hardest call is that call, the first one. But when you're on the Mojo dialer, you better get ready because they're going to come at you fast and furious. Whatever it might be. So pick 4 levers of lead generation that you want to work. You don't have to be great at them, but through the 4 that you pick, you're going to create the business that you want to have. If you do your 20%, and it starts with script practice. Know what you're going to say. When I came to Keller Williams or Murney, they didn't have scripts for us. I didn't know what to say. The only thing I would say to people is, hey, they already knew it was me. I'm always calling and say, who do you know that might be thinking about buying or selling a home? 2 or 3 phone calls in, they're not answering the phone for me anymore because they already know I'm calling for who do you know that wants to buy or sell a home? So we have to give them a reason to pick up the phone.
Are you still doing script practicing?
Yeah, I do it upstairs. I do it upstairs. You're welcome to join us. I just stopped coming down here just because we're purposeful about our scripts in the morning. And when people, I want to help, but a person has to want to help themselves first before we can do it together.
What days are you doing it?
We do it every day of the week except for Monday. From 8:45 to 9:45. All right, move on. Oh, Nathan, will you take page 64 at the top?
Getting comfortable with making contact. So it is possible to overcome sales call or contact reluctance. Yes, with small steps, with the right mindset, and with a commitment to take action, you can manage your reluctance and get comfortable with the contact. Mindset. Jamma Fontaine has adopted a great mindset. Have you ever had someone call you to ask if you wanted your windows washed and you were kind of annoyed and you hung up on him because you didn't, but the next time they called and you needed your windows washed, how happy you were that they called? I started thinking that if someone hangs up on me, then I should think, yeah, they just saved me time. I can get on to my next call. It gave me a new way to look at people who might hang up on me or get mad at me as not a personal thing because they don't even know who I am. Jamma understands that making contact and asking for business is a numbers game. You have to work through the no's to get the yeses. Think of every no as a path to a yes. Power through no's and continue to ask questions and build rapport. Don't take rejection personally.
Wow,
Keep going or stop?
What do y'all think about that?
that was great.
Yep. Yep.
Andy, you with me?
Yeah.
I'm not picking. I care about you, and I just want to be able to help get through and help you, as Nathan said, to get out of your own way in order to do the activities that you need to be doing on a daily basis to have the success that you're meant to have. That's all I want. Affirmations. Who's next on that? Nathan. Oh, you just read that. Andy, affirmations.
You say
How
affirmation.
appropriate.
Oh, you say affirmations every day, whether you think you do or not, you certainly do. The question is, are you telling yourself positive things, or are you filling your mind with limiting thoughts like, I can't, or I'm not, or I don't? If this is the case, you must begin to fill your mind with positive affirmations instead. After all, you are worthy and you deserve success. Remember that you are a service-oriented professional. Remember that you are competent and committed, and that your confidence and expertise will grow over time. Remember that you don't need to be an expert, just someone who brings service and value to, and who is willing to find answers to what you don't know. Remember that people want to do business with people they like, trust, and respect.
Perfect. So we're gonna wrap up the class on this last exercise. Write down 5 affirmations that you can say to yourself on a daily basis. I am always positive. I'm a great salesperson and real estate professional. Sellers listen to what I say and do what I suggest. I am efficient. I am effective. I am productive. I am profitable. I have no limits to what I can accomplish. Those are just a few affirmations that you can say to yourself, but you can R&D those. Does everyone know what R&D means?
Research and development.
Rip off and
Yeah, rip
duplicate.
off and duplicate.
Right.
That's right. That was Army General's modus operandi when he went in his MO, when he went into, they asked him like, how'd you do this special project? It was like some secret covert thing. And he goes, our motto is R&D. And they're like, what? And they're like, he's like, rip off and steal everything. It was like to the Secretary of State, he said this.
Wow.
And the guy was like, oh, well, I mean, it worked, so whatever.
Nice. So I have a bunch of affirmations from Diana Kokoska through the bolds that I've been through. And if everyone would, if they want a copy of all of these affirmations, I've got a bunch. Send me your email and then I'll create a Google shareable drive and send those out to everyone. Matter of fact, we'll start doing those in the office tomorrow, Michelle, Justin. Yes, sir.
Can I share what we do?
Go for it.
So we have our door to our bedroom, we put like affirmations all over there. So when we go out for the day, out into our living room, after we got dressed in the morning, we see these and we always update them. We put new stuff. We have some bold walls on there too. And we also have a gratefulness list that we keep writing every day. We put something we're grateful for every day. And I think that's really helpful for us.
So let me ask you this. How long have you guys been doing that?
Really,
Yeah, about a year.
year and a half.
Man, that's powerful.
My wife has them written on our mirror in our,
Love it.
in our bathroom.
How has that shown up in your world with having those affirmations and things like that all over the house?
I mean, it makes me feel like we're working towards our goals, no matter what's going on, and just positive. We know where we're going in life and we can get there, even if it's a crappy day.
That's awesome.
Sticky
No.
note on my desk.
No, that's awesome. We didn't get anywhere close to getting through
Like
everything.
that at every class, it's good.
Oh, good, I don't feel so bad then. All right. I don't know if they set us up for failure or not, but I didn't make it. Does anyone have any questions over anything that we may have went over, or maybe we didn't get a chance to go over?
Can I hear a couple of your affirmations? Anybody got one they want to share? I'm just curious, like, what do you people tell yourselves? Because, I mean, this is not an easy job, right? Like you get mentally beat up by people and they
Every day.
reject you and like, so what do you do? Like, what do you tell yourself?
Yeah,
Like in the morning.
the results, but you can't have both.
That's a
Okay.
bold law, that's a great.
Old laws?
I like
I just
the,
put your ass up and go.
I like when someone is waiting for me to show up.
Someone is waiting for me to show up.
Someone's always watching whether you know it or not.
That's creepy.
You're better at your job today than you were yesterday.
1% better every day.
Capable,
It's
and
easy
you can do
to
it, because a lot of people don't really internalize that they're capable of doing it, and you can. So you're having that affirmation that you are able to do it.
Tell yourself every day that you can do it.
No, I love it. I mean, that's, that was one thing. I've got a CD of the affirmation. I used to play them in my car. My son at that age, he was like, what are you doing? What are you listening to? I've kind of gotten away from it, but it's something that I need to get back to, and we'll get back to it.
You think it helped your son?
Sunglass every day.
Surplus every day.
And Mark, can we
Great
have your
class,
email
Mark, thank
address?
you.
Oh, yeah, it's Mark, M-A-R-K, at the numbers 417 listings.com. Mark at 417listings.com.
And what are we supposed to ask for?
Just, yeah, just, put, and for the title, just put, affirmations. Donna Kokoska, full affirmations. No.
You don't think it helps your son?
Huh?
You think it helps your son when yours does?
It may have, but I got him every Wednesday and every other weekend. So he didn't ride with me every day.
See, let's-
Yeah, I mean, all those things help. It's just that mind, it's a, it's helping to overcome those limiting beliefs.
Thanks for leading the class today.
No, I hope you got some out of it. I do.
So I liked this.
And all the classes so far, nobody can go through.
It fell often,
Like
fell fast,
5 or
fell
6
fun.
hours
You really do.
per section.
So
It feels pretty right.
I really, when I read through that mindset part last night, I'm like, man, if I don't get through anything else, I'm gonna make sure I get through.
So
The
my
mindset, 'cause
mother-in-law is
I
a
mean,
real
without
estate agent.
mindsets,
She's
nothing
been
else
with
really
for like a
matters.
Very, very long time.
Yeah, without
Colorado.
mindset, nothing else
So
matters.
this is like her ultimate dream is to have her son.
It
Her
is.
was around it, like growing up for like 30 years,
It's
but,
good.
um,
Good.
so she was like, you are going and we will never, ever miss
Which class have you enjoyed the most?
Like, we will
Just for
always
3 days?
Have they announced where the next one is or where it's at?
It's gonna be in Anaheim, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be in Anaheim, and then, it'll be probably February, I think you can go to
Green
like
lights.
Anaheim, like their convention center in Anaheim, and that's what it is.